Iraq digs into its darkest past. A sinkhole south of Mosul, believed to hide thousands of ISIL's victims. As mass graves open, Baghdad prepares to close another chapter. The end of the anti-ISIS coalition mission this September. And while foreign troops leave, Iraq's militias pivot. From proxies in regional wars to power brokers at home. Iraqi officials have reportedly begun excavating what may be the country's largest mass grave, a site linked to atrocities committed by ISIL during its brutal occupation from 2014 to 2017. The state-run Iraqi news agency reported on August 17th that Iraqi authorities were working alongside the judiciary, forensic investigators, the Iraqi Martyrs Foundation, and the Directorate of Mass Graves to excavate al-Khasfa, south of the northern city of Mosul. The site, known as al-Khasfa, is believed to hold the remains of at least 4,000 victims, possibly thousands more. Witnesses say ISIL fighters brought captives there by bus, executing many by decapitation before disposing of their bodies. The operation involves gathering visible remains and will progress to full exhumation pending international support. It's believed thousands, including Iraqi army, police and Yazidi victims, are buried there. The site, a sinkhole about 150 meters deep and 110 meters wide, is believed to have been the grisly scene of some of the worst massacres committed by ISIL. Ahmad Qusay al-Assadi, head of the Martyrs Foundation's Mass Graves Excavation Department, told the Associated Press news agency that
our team began work on August 9th at the request of the Nineveh province. The operation will initially be limited to gathering visible human remains and surface evidence, while preparing for a full exhumation that officials say will require international support, and because of the presence of these elements, al-Khasfa is a very complicated site.
The Foundation will then build a database and start collecting DNA samples from families of suspected victims. Full exhumations can only proceed once specialised assistance is secured to navigate the site's hazards, including sulphur water and unexploded ordnance. The water may have also eroded the human remains, complicating DNA identification. Based on unverified accounts from witnesses and families and other unofficial testimonies, authorities estimate the site could contain at least 4,000 remains, with the possibility of thousands more. Al-Khasfa is located near Mosul, Iraq's second largest city, where ISIL took control before being defeated in Iraq in late 2017. At its peak, ISIL ruled an area half the size of the United Kingdom, spanning across Iraq and Syria, with Raqqa in the latter being the capital of their self-declared caliphate. The group was notorious for its brutality. The group carried out massacres of thousands of the Yazidi people and enslaved thousands of Yazidi women. The Yazidis, a long-persecuted group whose faith is rooted in Zoroastrianism, are still recovering from the horrors of ISIL's onslaught on their community in Iraq's Sinjar district in 2014. Rabah Nuriatiyah, a lawyer who has worked on more than 70 cases of missing people in Nineveh, told the AP that information points to al-Khasfa being the largest mass grave in modern Iraqi history. Al-Assadi, however, said investigators have not yet been able to confirm its size. About 70% of the estimated human remains there are believed to belong to Iraqi army and police personnel, as well as other victims, including Yazidis. Interviews conducted with numerous witnesses from the area suggest that ISIL fighters brought people there by bus to kill them. Many of them were decapitated, al-Assadi said. In addition to ISIL-era mass graves, Iraqi authorities continue to unearth such sites dating to the rule of Saddam Hussein, who was toppled in a US-led invasion in 2003. Iraq said on August 17th that the mission of an international anti-Daesh/ISIS coalition will end this September, as efforts to build the government's armed forces are ongoing. Hussein Alawi, an advisor to Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, told the country's official news agency INA.
The coalition's presence at its headquarters in Baghdad and at Ain al-Assad Air Base will officially end in September 2025. marking a new phase of security cooperation focused on advisory roles and capacity building for Iraqi security forces.
Alawi added that Baghdad is building its armed forces, ending the coalition's mission and transitioning security relations with coalition countries into stable bilateral defense partnerships.
The Iraqi government's dedication to implementing its official agenda via building its armed forces, ending the coalition's mission, and transitioning security relations with coalition countries into stable bilateral defense partnerships governed by political, economic, and cultural ties. The implementation of the agreement between Iraq and the coalition countries is moving steadily forward.
The Iraqi official noted that the second phase of concluding the coalition's mission in Iraq is scheduled for September 2026. Baghdad set a 12-month timeline with Washington in September 2024 to conclude the mission of the Global Coalition Against ISIS in Iraq. The Global Coalition Against Daesh is a US-led initiative formed in September 2014 with 89 partner states and institutions. The coalition aimed at the elimination of the terror group's presence in Iraq and Syria. The coalition's military presence in Syria will continue until September 2026 to prevent a resurgence of the Daesh-ISIS threat in northeastern Syria. The US currently maintains approximately 2,500 troops in Iraq as part of the mission. Defying expectations, Iraq's Iran-backed militias refrained from attacking US bases after Israel's June strikes on Iran. Their restraint was not a sign of weakness, but a calculated choice. The militias feared leadership decapitation after Israel, and the US escalated targeted killings of commanders across the axis of resistance. Baghdad, meanwhile, pressed for restraint, Prime Minister Soudani trading economic concessions for quiet. And crucially, Iran itself discouraged escalation, fearing Israeli retaliation against critical Iraqi infrastructure such as Basra's port, a lifeline for Tehran's sanctions-battered economy. Instead of fighting Israel or the US, the militias turned inward. By July, they unleashed unclaimed drone and rocket strikes on Iraq's oil and power facilities, reasserting leverage in domestic politics and sending signals ahead of the November 2025 elections. This reflects a broader transformation. Groups like Kataib Hezbollah and Asaib al-Haq are no longer just militant proxies. They are quasi-bureaucratic power centres, blending coercion with electoral politics. Their restraint in June was about preserving political capital, not renouncing violence. Soudani's rare August move against Kataib Hezbollah commanders underscored both the risks and opportunities of this moment. Iraq cannot rely on militia self-restraint alone. Durable stability requires strengthening the state's coercive capacity and pursuing security sector reform, curbing rogue paramilitary influence without destabilizing the entire hashed structure. Ultimately, the militia's sit-out in the Iran-Israel war shows a strategic pivot, away from regional adventurism toward domestic consolidation. Whether this shift reinforces Iraq's sovereignty or deepens militia capture of the state depends on how the government and its international partners act now.